So everybody knows how hot under the collar I am today, and there's probably only one human being who's more upset and more ticked off than I am, and she's on the line right now. Ann Coulter, of course, author and commentator extraordinaire. She, unfortunately, not allowed to speak at Berkeley, where we're now watching the children who require counseling to listen to Ben Shapiro operate. They had to build a wall, Ann, for them, but we can't get a wall built.
Maybe I'll go out for that counseling.
I'm telling you.
What do you think they say? Could I go in and say, I'm really depressed. We supported the only guy who said he'd enforce our immigration laws and he's betraying us?
Yeah, I need some counseling. I'm telling you, I got on the air today. I was even arguing with my good friend Michael Goodwin because he's telling me all this bipartisan stuff is a good idea.
Oh, not the 3D chess again. Would they give it up? Trump is the worst negotiator I've ever seen. And, you know, I mean, as I've been tweeting ferociously earlier today, look, we had no choice. Of course, any smart person had to support Trump. All of the rest of them were lunatics. All of the rest of them wanted to, beat the Democrats to amnestying all the illegals and throw open the borders, put up a sign on the border saying, free stuff. Free health care here, and let's see what happens. Trump was the only one speaking sense, and he may not have been my idea of the ideal presidential candidate. We didn't have a choice.
Right.
Of course you had to support Donald Trump. You take a bet, and it didn't play out.
No.
We've been through this before, Joyce.
Yeah, we have. And I'm sick and tired of it. And I'll tell you what really frustrates me is the fact that there's no clear messaging ever. I mean, one day it's yes, one day it's no, the next day it's ask Nancy Pelosi. I mean, one thing you could say about Ronald Reagan, and I know you hate when anybody compares anything to Ronald Reagan, but at least the messaging was consistent as he did things in a conservative manner.
No, actually, it's a great point and a great comparison right now because I was thinking, I mean, this is pretty low on the list today considering it's the end of the country. But among the things that are annoying about this is just adopting the left-wing phraseology to call illegal aliens dreamers.
Right.
And on the campaign trail, back when he was saying things to trick us into voting for him, Trump properly responded, no, I care about Americans with dreams. Mm-hmm. They have dreams. That's who the president is supposed to be protecting here. And this would be a really great opportunity for Trump to give a fireside chat and use some new technology with videos of the angel moms and Jamil Shaw and parents of children addicted to heroin, which is 100% the fault of there not being a wall on the border.
And the nightmare kids, the MS-13 gangs who use machetes and the rest of it against each other and against American citizens.
I mean, he gave those beautiful, beautiful speeches during the campaign. That's what he should be doing, not having dinner with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. This is, as I was tweeting last night, this is Chuck Schumer's specialty. One of the columns I wrote just after the election that I tweeted was, this is how they're going to try to destroy you, Donald Trump, and went through the first George Bush, which you'll remember. Our younger listeners will not remember this, who in his very famous convention speech, conservatives did not trust him. He wasn't Ronald Reagan, but he gave that convention speech saying he actually laid out all the steps Democrats would try to trick him into raising taxes and breaking his pledge. Mm-hmm. And he said, they will come to me and say, please, we've got to raise taxes. And I'll say no. And they'll come to me again and they'll say, we've got to raise taxes. And I'll say no. And they'll come to me again and I'll say, read my lips, no new taxes. And then they do those steps. But instead of saying no, he caved. Right. And immediately, I remember, up until Trump started running, I was a daily reader of the New York Times. I remember there were all these, he's got to do the responsible thing, and the deficit is going to destroy us. He's got to raise taxes. Will he be bipartisan? Will he do the manly thing and raise taxes? And then the second he raised taxes, not only the New York Times, but Chuck Schumer and candidate Clinton were all taunting Bush. You broke your central campaign promise. New York Times Michael Wines wrote, with this one act, Republicans lost. I forget what he called it, something like, the cruise missile that has brought them landslide victories in the last 3 elections. They gave up. They are being the party of tax cutters, not tax raisers. And that is exactly what Chuck Schumer is doing now. Democrats don't care about anything. They don't care what happens to the illegals. They just want Trump to break his central campaign promises because they know that's not only it for Trump, it's probably it for the Republican Party.
Oh, I agree. And let me tell you what this reminds me of. I'm a little older than you, so I don't just look back at, Ronald Reagan's presidency, but I look back at Richard Nixon's, and this is all very Nixonian to me. You try to cozy up to the opposition. You're the only one who can speak to China, and you're the only one who could put price controls in, and you can take us off the gold standard calling yourself a Republican. And then you think the media is going to like you more, and the Democrats are going to like you more, and they get you impeached. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Donald Trump.
I don't see any faction opposing Donald Trump's impeachment.
No, there's not. There's not going to be, including not me and you, which he used to have in his back pocket.
Right. I mean, what is the advantage of Trump over Pence? I mean, at this point, there are a few things we care about. I don't think it really matters. I think it's the twilight of the American project. But for a few more years, it would be nice to have some Supreme Court justices. At this point, I'd expect Donald Trump to put Ivanka and Jared on the Supreme Court.
There you go. Hillary, who knows? I mean, you just can't. You can't predict anything long term. And I'm just so frustrated. Now I'm hearing that this is all being done, I was told by Michael Goodwin, to set the stage for a quick tax break. Let me tell you, I'm already hearing that $149,000 earners are going to be in for a tax increase. Then when did that stop being middle class and become rich?
Yeah, that's right.
Every fireman married to a teacher is now rich.
No, I know. The ones I want taxes raised on are the Wall Street crowd. I think there is probably, you could quadruple taxes on people who make $5 million or more per year, and only one Republican would be hurt.
Right.
We're just going to have to tell them, sorry, you got to take one for the team.
Yeah. Well, but that's a good point. And here again, on 9/11, I'm sitting there listening to him speak. I'm listening to Mattis. I'm listening to Pence. Not once did anyone use the term radical Islam. Not once was the word jihad said. Wasn't that the second most important issue he ran on?
No, that's right. And we're going to be bringing him in. Nothing is changing. I mean, you can't have any regrets. He was, like I say, he was the only candidate running for president who didn't have men chasing him with nets. There was no choice. You had to vote for the guy who was saying these things. But it's like the Robert Frost poem. There are two paths in the woods. We took our choice. This was the better path. Oh, well, it didn't work out.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is, for me, in the last 10 years, this is the second huge betrayal by a politician who was able to tell me everything I needed to hear and then immediately reversed course as soon as they got to Washington. And I've about had it. I'm not eager to support any candidate anymore. I am going to stand on principle and watch this country dissolve because this does not end well.
No, it doesn't. I mean, look at California for your future. And, I spend a lot of time in California. Nobody cares about state politics in California. There's nothing interesting. What you and I do for a living and care about politics, I mean, maybe it won't happen right away, but 6 months, a year from now, who cares? It's like watching a slow motion. You're on a plane and the plane is crashing, but it's going to take 10 years. And you're just going to be looking down at the ground, getting closer and closer. But there's no good outcome here. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the position I find myself in. And, I'm listening around the dial a little bit to other hosts and how they're handling this. And it's amazing to me, calling themselves conservatives, calling themselves, truth seekers. and willing to, to fall on the sword for somebody who violated every promise practically, with the exception of the Supreme Court justice. Everything is fungible apparently to Donald Trump, and I'm done. I'm done defending.
No, I just, people keep asking. They've been pestering me basically since Trump came in, and by the way, started making mistakes right away, which is why I wrote those columns in November. I mean, he was surrounding himself with, his family members.
Yeah. McMaster's.
Promised that on the campaign trail. No Corey Lewandowski. No. Bannon's moved to a back office, apparently. Mm-hmm. Nikki Haley, all of the never-Trumpers just crowding into his administration. No Chris Kobach. So, yeah, we've been worried here for a while, but I'm the weatherman. When it's sunny, I say it's sunny. When it's raining, I'll say it's raining. So obviously, I've been critical since November 8th. But they keep wanting like an official declaration that I'm off the Trump train, and I've just been emailing them back today saying, no, I'm on the Trump train.
He's off.
Trump is off the Trump train.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
Get the terminology right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And this Department of Justice, that I'm one of the biggest fans of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. I loved him forever. Sat with him on immigration debates in 06, 07, 08. A man who feels like we do about these issues. And now I'm watching him. No, we're not going to prosecute Lois Lerner, and no, we're not going to pressure Comey to come and answer questions. Like, whose side is anybody on at this point?
No, he has turned out to be a disappointment.
Yeah, weak.
I must say, yes, yes.
And when I got, the only person threatening to even subpoena Jim Comey is Lindsey Graham. I know all is lost.
No, and he hasn't made the appointments we need. It's a cliche, but it's true, and it's especially true with someone like Donald Trump, who says, whatever it is the last person he talks to tells him to say.
Right.
But personnel is policy, and the personnel for this for starting November 9th has been nothing like what we were promised or what was indicated on the campaign trail. Mm-hmm. Who won Trump the nomination? It was obviously Trump himself, but there were three people running that entire campaign. It was such a wonderful campaign. It was Donald Trump, Hope Hicks, Corey Lewandowski. Right. Corey Lewandowski gets dumped. The kids get moved in. That was outright deception. Mm-hmm. I'm just running for the White House to help my family.
Well, and listen, Hope Hicks has now been installed as communications director, but you can't change the message that comes out of the president,
I know. I love Hope Hicks. I was so happy. She was one of the few. But, it's going to take more than just the communications director.
Right.
We needed Kobach. We needed Corey Lewandowski. We needed Steve Bannon running the White House. Yeah, well, it's a far cry from that. But, Ann, I'm like you. I'm getting all the emails, all the calls, and now you're even sending me your surplus of people who want me to trash Trump. And it's like, what's the point? I'm in the same boat that I was in prior to this election. At least I would have expected this to happen if Hillary Clinton had won. Right. I didn't expect it to happen now, but listen, I'm going to stand on principle. I'm not going to make excuses for him. I can't. This is inexcusable. This is the issue that I voted him in on. There's no other issue than immigration. And if I lose that, then I'll pay more taxes. I don't care. Yeah. It's really devastating. It is the more exquisite con than even Rubio, because of that campaign, because he didn't back down, and the millions of Americans who haven't voted for decades because they said there's no difference. I vote Republican, I vote Democrat. Nothing changes. My community is still being overwhelmed. Drugs are still coming in. You don't care about me. You're outsourcing my job. Mm-hmm. And for Trump to come along and seem to have a spine of steel, making outrageous comments. Even I would have phrased that opening speech about Mexican rapists a little differently. He makes these wild remarks and never backed down, didn't back down from the Muslim ban. And then for him to come in and betray them, I don't think you're ever getting those voters back again. No, you're certainly not. Well, listen, I've been down this path once before. Yeah, we sure have. And I am a terrible person to not have on your side. I will tell you that because I will make it my mission
to see that he doesn't get a second term if he should last that long.
I don't know why Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell wouldn't want to impeach and remove him now.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not going to face a lot of resistance. Okay,
no resistance. Yeah. I mean, no resistance. I mean, Steve King has summed it up last night perfectly well. He said, I'm back to ground zero. Nothing has changed for people who believe in the things that I believe in. Anyway, thank you, Ann. I needed to at least know there was somebody else as crazed as I am.
Who's still on the Trump train out there.
Yeah, just me and you on the Trump train. Where's the conductor? We lost him. Hey. Thank you. I look forward to talking to you soon. Did you get any damage here? I know you have a place.
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Wilma was worse. Why isn't anybody,
It was worse. But here we go. It's climate change.
No one covered that hurricane.
No
one.
Well, we did. But climate change, this is the stupid story, the worst hurricane in history ended up doing the least amount of damage.
And 12 years without a hurricane. I'm using extra hairspray to try to jumpstart this global warming.
There you go. Thanks, Ann. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Let's take a break. You're listening to 850 WFTL.